Are you handling errors in your project properly? Are you showing them to the user in a way that they can understand the error at hand? Or are you just printing out the error's localized description in the console, letting the user clueless what happened? I say you should always display the error in an alert to the user, but alerts in SwiftUI are so cumbersome to use. Well, not anymore, because today you are going to learn how to show alerts with one line of code. Let's get into it. This video is sponsored by my mentoring sessions. Go ahead and check them out at rebeloper.com/mentoring. More on this later in the video. Today, I'm going to talk about how you can create an actual error alert. And, I've been there. Trust me, I am guilty of this. Whenever, you're just building out your projects, you have other things on your mind than handling errors properly. You usually just print out the errors, localized description, so you can see them inside your logs. But that is far from what you should be doing. You should actually basically show them to the user and at least show them to the user with an OK button. But with SwiftUI's error alerts, it's quite tedious to just set all of those types of alerts. Like you might have many alerts on one view, and then you have alerts on multiple views, and then you have to set them up on all of them. It's kind of tedious. So today I'm going to create a kind of a library which you can use in your own projects. It will be just one line of code with the help of an environment. So it's really, really straightforward. But before we dive into that library, let me just show you how you would handle some sort of an error. I have prepared here a project. Basically we just have a custom error right over here and a button on the content view. Let me just have some more space over here. So how would you present an alert and inside that an error, where you would just have, let's say, .alert, and you could just use the one with is presented error and actions. But honestly, I prefer to have more more flexibility with these. So I usually choose the one with the title key, is presented, actions, and a message. So the title key, let me just have some more room over here maybe, and let's center that. Okay, so the title key, maybe let's have this error, and then is presented. We want to have a state variable, state private var is error presented, there we go, equals false. And let's just bind that, $sign is error presented. And then we have some actions, and then, we're going to talk about the actions in just a second. Let me just take care of the message right over here, a text, and then let's just have this on the my error dot custom dot localized description, or rather, let's just go with the customs. Let me just see how I set that up, because this is the custom error. Just the custom. That should be fine. Let me just see if that would work as it should. Custom dot. Let's just go with the localized description, or maybe it's the recovery suggestion. Let me just see. We will see how that looks like in just a second, if you need the recovery suggestion or the localized description. Anyway, we're just going to have some sort of a string right over here. Let's have some default value over here, so not available. Okay, are you aiming to become an iOS developer? Collaborating with me as your mentor through rebeloper.com/mentoring can supercharge your career. With years of hands-on experience in the industry and profound knowledge of iOS development, I provide valuable insights, stay up to date on industry trends, and offer effective coding techniques to support your growth. Let's advance your iOS journey together. Connect with me at rebeloper.com/mentoring. The link is down in the description. So on the buttons, we should have at least an OK button. So here's the title of OK, and the action, no action, because I am aware of this alert, that's fine. Okay, so let's click on present right over here. Oh, we want to put that on the button. So is error presented dot toggle. Okay, let's just wait. There we go. Error. Well, it's not available, but basically you would just have this. Let's just see if the localized description would work there. Let's present that error. There we go. It's localized description. Great. So yeah, this is how you would do it, and you would need to do these alerts for all of your errors. So it's not like reusable. You need to have multiple alerts over there. You have multiple state variables and in multiple places in your application. So this is really not that efficient. Now you know how you would do it on a minimal scale. Now let's make it like we're just going to have to import an environment, add an environment into our view, and also just with one line of code. And for that, we are going to use some observable objects. Yes. So I'm just going to add all of this in here so I can, access it and don't have to create new files. But basically what you should do is just add new files over there. So let's just have a final class. Let's just call this error alert. It should be with a small c with that class. And this will be an observable object. There we go. And this observable object will handle all of our alerts, whenever we need to present alerts on our views. Therefore, it needs to store some stuff, mainly the error itself, a title for our alert, and a button, a title for, what should we do, and optionally if we want to do some action on that button tab. So let's create those. The first one is the error. So because this is going to be changed over time, these will be published variables. So the first one will be a published var error of type error. This is optional, of course, because, there might not be an error at the moment. And then we are going to do the same for the title. I just duplicated that with Command D, so title, and this will be of type string. And we also need a button title. So button title, again, optional string. And then the action, so var action, and that would be an optional action, optional completion of void. So basically, you just pass along the action. Okay, so, this is fine, but how would we present some sort of an alert? Well, we need to populate all of these, the error, the title, button title, and the action. So let's create that function that we are going to use, present. So this will need an error of type error, okay, a title of type string, and let's just give a default value of it. Maybe we don't really care, error is just fine, so let's have that as default. And then a button title over there, same as with the title, I'm going to give an okay for the button title, and then the action will be an optional action right over there, void. And maybe we don't really care about the action, so I'm just going to set that to nil. So now what we need to do, we need a comma right over here instead of the dot. What we need to do is just grab all of these properties and put them into these published variables, and of course the action right over here. Before that, I'm just going to print out the error's localized description. So yeah, we should see that on our console, and then we just go self.error. I'm just going to go through these real quickly. Self.title equals that title, then comes the button title, and then the action. Self.action equals that action. And that's it. That's our observable object. Now, this needs to be available throughout our application. And one way of accessing this observable object is to set this up as an environment object on the root of our application. And then, just access it with the environment object property wrapper. But I like the environment API much better. And it's just a few lines of code to convert this observable object into an environment. So let's do that next. We are going to create, first we need to create an environment key. So that's a struct. I'm going to call this error alert key. And that will be of type of environment key. There we go. It's at main actor, so it comes on the main thread, static, let, and default value. This is what we need. And instead of that value, we just say equals error alert. You know, the observable object that we have just created. Okay, we got our key. Now it's time to create that environment value. So we are going to have an extension on the environment values. And we're just going to create one that's called error alert. And if will be of type error alert. And here's our getter. We are going to return self and error alert key dot self. There we go. And on the setter set, we just go self error alert key dot self equals that new value. Okay, so now we will be able to grab this environment object through an actual environment. And let me just show you how. We are going to create a view modifier that we are going to put onto our root project. A view modifier because we want that alert that I was talking about here put onto our view hierarchy. So let's just do that. Let's create a view modifier. I'm just going to use Xcode auto-completion right over here and remove what is unnecessary at the moment. And I'm going to call this error alert view modifier. Error alert view modifier, that's right. And now I'm going to grab that environment, you know, what we were talking about. So at environment, open parentheses, / dot, and you see it already auto-completing it, error alert. It would be a private var error alert. Of course, you need to set this up, and we are going to do that as one of the last steps. But for now, just know that this error alert will be available as an environment. Therefore, this is how we are accessing it. Okay, so we also need a state variable on this view modifier, you know, just to trigger that alert. So at state private var is presented equals false. Okay, so now let's create our alert on the content. So alert, we are going to use the same one that I have showed you. So with the title, key, is presented, actions, and a message. So what are we going to add in here? Well, for the title key, we are going to grab the error alerts dot title. And of course, optionally, because you know this is an optional, we want to give a default value, and I'm going to give this as error. Then we want to bind it. So we are just going to bind that to the is presented. I'm going to show you how we're going to trigger it in just a second. For now, we just bind it to that state variable. What about the actions? Well, we're going to have only one button. We are going to have a button with an action and title. There we go. Or yeah, we should just use the title and action because it's just a string. So the title would be our error alerts dot button title. Again, because this is an optional string, let's just give it a default value of empty string. So yeah, maybe this, if we are over here, that empty string should not be shown. And then the action. What should happen when we tap on the button? Well, first of all, we should trigger that error alerts action. And that's an optional, so question mark, 2 parentheses. And then basically we should just move everything back to its original state. So meaning that we just say error alert dot error equals a nil. And then we just duplicate this and we say the title should be a nil. And duplicate this, we should say the button title should be nil. And also the action should be nil. So we are, coming back to an open nil stage. And what about the message? Well, that has to be a text, by the way, always a text. That's an error alert dot error dot localized description, and otherwise, again, just an empty string, just so you know we need to set that up. Okay, so that's our alert, but how are we going to actually trigger it? Well, it has to do something with the is presented, that's what's triggering the alert, but it also has to do when we are actually receiving an error. Right over here, we are setting the error. So we are going to listen to that. So right over here, after the alert, we are just going to set an on a receive error alert dot $error. And then we are going to perform something. Right over here, we do need that error, so we have to set a new value, just like that. And then if this is not nil, basically when the error is not set to nil, then we are going to toggle these presented. So if new value is not nil, we are going to say is presented equals true. And that's it. That's how easy it is to just toggle an alert through the is presented when the error alert's error is going to be set. Of course, when we are setting back to nil, this is not going to be triggered at all. Now it's time to set all of this up. So let's go into our SwiftUI error alert demo app file. And right over here, let's create our state object so we can add that as an environment. So add state object private var error alert, and that is an error alert. Okay. And what we need to do is just add that as an environment object, an environment for our error alert. There we go. And that will be our error alert. So this is how we set up our environment. Also, we want to add in our modifier, the actual error that we have, alert that we have over there. So we're just going to say modifier, and then just initialize it, error alert view modifier. There it is. Okay, so now let's check it out. Let's go to the content view. Back over here, and then let's just add here an environment. So add environment dot error alert private var error alert. Okay, and then let's just use it. So I'm going to comment out this part so you know what was, the old way of doing this, and now I will see how easy it is. So we just say error alert dot present, and we want to present an error. Now you could add a title, button title, and action. I'm not going to cover this for now. Let's just have my error dot custom. So let's run this on the simulator. Let's build and run, because the preview does not have that set up for that environment. This will just actually not work. Let me just resize this a little bit over there. And let's click on it. There we go. We have our error presented with an OK, and also we have this inside our log. It's really, really nice. But there's an extra step that we should take. Right over here, this is really, really, we have to set this up. I don't want to know about this, actually. I want to make this even easier with one line of setup. So let's just scroll down over here and let's create a view modifier. This is, by the way, optional, but please stay till the end. This will well worth it. So we're going to create another view modifier, and this one will be called error alert view modifier. So, uses error alert view modifier. Okay, let's remove what's not needed over here. And then I'm going to copy out some stuff. So let's move this line, like the initialization, into the view modifier, just like that. And then all of these two view modifiers also onto our content, just like that. And then let's create a handy view extension. So extension, view, and this would be named a function called uses error alert, and this will return some view, and basically just have that modifier of uses error alert view modifier. Now all we have to do right over here is just go uses error alert. Much nicer, right? Let me just move all over these lines. So let's build and run one more time, and let's see all of this in action. Present the error. There we go. We have our error, and all of this, by the way, is, again, it's customizable. Only the message, of course, comes from the error. You can customize the title and the button, and on the button action, whatever you would like to do. Now, hope you enjoyed this one, and I will see you in the next one.